The sun rises slowly over the horizon, casting a golden glow across the sprawling plains of a small village in rural Africa. The air is thick with the scent of dust and wildflowers, and the sounds of morning, roosters crowing, children laughing, and the soft clatter of pots in outdoor kitchens fill the atmosphere. This is Kweku Village, a place where life moves at the pace of the seasons, where everyone knows each other's name, and where dreams often feel like distant stars, beautiful but unreachable. In the heart of this village lived a young woman named Amara, a 20-year-old with eyes that sparkle like the night sky and a heart as warm as the sun overhead. But Amara's life has never been easy. Abandoned as a baby, left on the steps of a local church with nothing but a tattered blanket and a note that read, "Take care of her. She has grown up with more questions than answers." Amara's days begin before dawn. She rises in the small, mud brick house she shares with an elderly woman named Mama Nia, who took her in all those years ago. The walls are bare, save for a few woven baskets and a faded photograph of a smiling couple Amara likes to imagine might be her parents, though she knows it's just wishful thinking. By 5 a.m., she's kneading dough, her hands moving with practiced ease as she prepares the flatbread she'll sell at the market. The market is the lifeblood of Kweku, a bustling hub where traders barter. Gossip flows like water, and Amara's small stall is a familiar sight. Her breads, golden and fragrant, are a favorite among the villagers, but they barely earn her enough to scrape by. Still, Amara never complains. She smiles at every customer, offers an extra piece to children who linger hungrily, and carries herself with a quiet dignity that makes her stand out, even in her worn-out dresses and faded headscarf. Life in Kweku is predictable, but for Amara, it's a canvas of small joys painted over a backdrop of longing. She dreams of a world beyond the village, of answers to the questions that haunt her. Who were her parents? Why did they leave her? Did they ever love her? These thoughts linger as she walks home each evening, her basket empty, but her heart full of hope. And then, at 19, something shifts. She meets Kwame, a young man with a quick laugh and a kind heart, who works as a carpenter in the village. Kwame is different from the others. Where they see Amara's poverty, he sees her strength. Their friendship blossoms into love, slow and steady, like the rains that nourish the earth. By the time Amara turns 20, Kwame proposes, and she says yes, her heart soaring at the thought of building a life with someone who sees her for who she is. But not everyone is as kind as Kwame. His family, particularly his mother, Adwoa, disapproves. A girl with no name, no family, no past. Adwoa scoffs, her voice sharp as she pulls Kwame aside one evening. "She sells bread in the market, Kwame. What kind of wife is that for you?" The words sting, but Amara holds her head high. She's heard worse in her life. Whispers about her being cursed or unwanted. She and Kwame decide to move forward with their wedding, determined to prove that love is stronger than judgment. They plan a simple ceremony, one the village will talk about for its modesty rather than its grandeur. Amara spends weeks sewing her own dress, a cream-colored gown made from fabric scraps she's saved over the years. It's not much, but to her, it's a symbol of hope, of a new beginning. As the wedding day approaches, the village buzzes with excitement. Children run through the streets, helping to string flowers along the paths, while the elders offer blessings for the young couple. Amara feels a flutter of nerves, but also a deep sense of peace. For the first time, she feels like she belongs. But the night before the wedding, something strange happens. A woman arrives in Kweku, her face hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat. She asks for Amara by name, her voice low and urgent, but when Mama Nia tells her Amara is resting, The woman leaves without a word, promising to return. The encounter unsettles Mama Nia, who mentions it to Amara in passing. She seemed important, Mama Nia says, her brow furrowed. Like she knew you from somewhere. Amara brushes it off, too caught up in the joy of her upcoming wedding to dwell on it. But deep down, a spark of curiosity ignites. Who was this woman, and why was she looking for her? The morning of the wedding dawns bright and clear. Amara stands in her makeshift dress, her heart pounding as she prepares to walk to the village square where the ceremony will take place. She has no family to walk her down the aisle, but Mama Nia holds her hand tightly, her eyes shining with pride. As Amara steps into the sunlight, the villagers cheer, their voices a chorus of love and celebration. But just as the drums begin to play, signaling the start of the ceremony, a low rumble cuts through the air. Heads turn, and gasps ripple through the crowd as a convoy of sleek, black cars rolls into the village, kicking up clouds of dust. The vehicles are unlike anything Kweku has ever seen. Polished, expensive, and utterly out of place in this humble corner of the world. Amara freezes, her breath catching as the lead car stops and a man steps out, his suit crisp and his expression unreadable. Amara, he says, his voice carrying a weight that makes her heart skip. We need to talk. The dust settles around the convoy of cars, their polished surfaces glinting under the African sun like some alien intrusion in the heart of Kweku village. Amara stands frozen, her cream-colored dress fluttering in the breeze, as the man in the suit steps closer. His presence feels like a storm cloud breaking over a clear day, and the villagers' cheers fade into a tense murmur. Kwame, standing by her side, instinctively takes her hand, his grip steady but his eyes wary. "Who are you?" Amara asks, her voice barely above a whisper, though it carries the weight of 20 years of unanswered questions. The man's gaze softens, but there's something guarded in his expression, like he's holding a secret too heavy to share all at once. "My name is David Okoye," he says, his voice smooth but firm. "And I've been looking for you for a very long time." The words hang in the air, and Amara feels a shiver run through her. She glances at Mama Nia, whose face is a mask of confusion and suspicion, and then at Kwame, who looks ready to step between her and this stranger if needed. The villagers, sensing something monumental, edge closer, their curiosity outweighing their unease. David gestures toward the lead car, where the door opens and the woman from the night before steps out. Her wide-brimmed hat is gone, revealing a face that's strikingly familiar, though Amara can't place why. "This is my wife, Elizabeth," David says, his tone measured. "We've come to talk about your past and your future." The promise of answers pulls at Amara, but so does the fear of what those answers might mean. She spent her life building a fragile peace in Kweku. What if this moment shatters it? David suggests they speak privately, and after a moment's hesitation, Amara agrees, leading him, Elizabeth, and a small entourage to Mama Nia's modest home. The wedding is paused. The villagers left buzzing with speculation as the drums fall silent. Inside, Amara sits across from David and Elizabeth, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Kwame stays by her side, his presence a quiet anchor. David begins to speak, his words careful, as if he's navigating a minefield. He tells Amara that 20 years ago, a tragedy forced a wealthy family to make an impossible choice. A newborn girl was left in Kweku, not out of cruelty, but to protect her from dangers she couldn't yet understand. Amara's heart pounds as she listens, her mind racing to connect the dots. "Are you saying I'm that girl?" she asks, her voice trembling. David nods, his eyes meeting hers. "You're our daughter." The revelation hits like a thunderclap. Amara's world, already fragile, cracks open. She wants to laugh, to cry, to scream that this can't be true. She's just a bread seller, a girl with no name, no past. How could she be the daughter of people who arrived in cars that cost more than the entire village? Elizabeth reaches out, her hand trembling, but Amara pulls back, overwhelmed. Why now, she demands. Why did you wait 20 years? Why come on my wedding day? David explains that they've been searching for her for years, following leads that went cold until a chance encounter with a missionary who'd visited Kweku mentioned a girl with a distinctive birthmark, a small, star-shaped mark on Amara's wrist. They'd arrived hoping to find her, not knowing it was her wedding day. Amara's mind reels. She looks at the birthmark, one she's always thought of as a quirk, now a key to a past she never knew. But the story doesn't add up. If they loved her, why abandon her? Why let her grow up thinking she was unwanted? David and Elizabeth exchange a glance, and Elizabeth speaks for the first time, her voice soft but heavy with guilt. There are people who wanted to hurt you, she says. People who saw you as a threat to their power. We thought leaving you here, in a place so far removed, would keep you safe. Amara feels a surge of anger. Safe? Growing up with nothing, scraping by, enduring whispers and pity. Was that safety? She stands, her voice sharp. You left me to survive. And I did, without you. The room falls silent, the weight of her words settling like dust. Kwame squeezes her hand, his eyes urging her to breathe, to think. David pulls out a small, leather-bound book from his briefcase and slides it across the table. This belonged to your grandmother, he says. It's a journal. It explains everything, why we had to let you go, and why we never stopped looking. Amara stares at the book, its worn cover beckoning like a door to another life. She doesn't touch it. Not yet, but its presence feels like a challenge. Part of her wants to reject it, to cling to the life she's built, but another part, the part that's always wondered, can't look away. Outside, the village is restless. Kwame's mother, Adwoa, has been stirring up trouble, whispering to anyone who'll listen that these strangers will ruin everything. They'll take her away, she says, her voice dripping with disdain. A girl like that doesn't belong with people like them. The words reach Amara's ears through a neighbor, and they cut deeper than she expects. She's already wrestling with the idea that her life might not be what it seems. Now, she faces the possibility that the village, her home, might turn against her too. Kwame, sensing her turmoil, pulls her aside. Whatever happens, he says, his voice steady, we're in this together. You're not alone anymore. His words ground her, but the questions keep swirling. Who is she, really? And what does this mean for the life she's about to start with him? As the day fades into evening, Amara sits alone with the journal, her fingers tracing its edges. She hasn't opened it yet, but she knows she will. The answers she's sought her whole life are inside, and so are the truths she's not sure she's ready to face. David and Elizabeth have promised to stay in the village until she's ready to talk again, but their presence feels like a ticking clock. The wedding is postponed, the joy of the day overshadowed by the weight of this new reality. Amara looks out at the village, at the familiar faces now tinged with suspicion, and feels a pang of loss. She's always been the girl with no past, but now that the past is knocking, she's not sure she wants to let it in. The night is heavy with silence, broken only by the distant hum of crickets and the occasional rustle of leaves outside Mama Nia's small home. Amara sits cross-legged on the woven mat that serves as her bed, the leather-bound journal resting in her lap like a sleeping beast. Its weight feels both comforting and menacing, as if it holds the power to rewrite her life. Kwame has gone home to calm his mother's growing agitation, leaving Amara alone with her thoughts and the flickering light of a single oil lamp. She traces the journal's embossed cover, her fingers lingering on the faded initials etched into the leather. A.O. Her grandmother's, David had said. Amara's heart races as she opens the first page, the brittle paper crackling under her touch. The words, written in elegant, looping script, pull her into a story she never imagined could be hers. The journal belongs to Abigail Okoye, a woman who, decades ago, built a business empire from nothing. Page after page details her rise from a small trader in Lagos to a titan of industry. Her company, Okoye Enterprises, dominating markets across Africa. But the entries grow darker as Amara reads on. Abigail writes of enemies, rival families, jealous partners, and even a shadowy figure she calls the broker, who sought to destroy her legacy. When Abigail's only son, David, and his wife, Elizabeth, welcomed a daughter, the threats escalated. A chilling entry, dated 20 years ago, makes Amara's breath catch. They know about the child. They'll stop at nothing to claim what's ours. The only way to protect her is to let her go. The words blur as tears sting Amara's eyes. Her parents didn't abandon her out of indifference. They did it to save her life. But the journal raises more questions than answers. Who were these enemies? Why was a newborn girl such a threat? Amara's mind spins as she reads late into the night, piecing together fragments of a life she never knew. One entry mentions a locket, a family heirloom with a hidden compartment, given to the baby as a final gift before she was left in Kweku. Amara's hand flies to her neck, where a simple silver locket hangs, a gift from Mama Nia, who said it was found with her as a baby. Trembling, she opens it, revealing a tiny, engraved crest she's never noticed before. It matches a sketch in the journal, confirming the impossible. This is her story. The next morning, Amara confronts David and Elizabeth, the journal clutched tightly in her hands. They're staying at a nearby guest house, a stark contrast to the village's humble homes, and their presence has only fueled the villagers' unease. Adwoa's whispers have spread, and some now view Amara with suspicion, as if her connection to these outsiders taints her. "Tell me everything," Amara demands, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. David sighs, his shoulders sagging as he begins. Okoye Enterprises, he explains, controls vast resources, mines, real estate, and technology patents. When Amara was born, she was named the sole heir to Abigail's fortune, a decision that enraged powerful rivals who wanted control. The broker, a figure still shrouded in mystery, orchestrated threats against the family, forcing David and Elizabeth to hide their daughter in a place no one would look, a remote village in rural Africa. Amara listens, her anger battling with a growing sense of clarity. "Why didn't you come sooner?" she asks, her voice cracking. Elizabeth's eyes fill with tears. "We tried," she says. "Every lead ended in heartbreak. We thought you were lost forever until the missionary mentioned your birthmark." Amara wants to believe them, but trust is a fragile thing, and hers has been broken too many times. Still, she agrees to let them stay in the village a little longer, if only to understand the full scope of her past. As the days pass, Amara and Kwame try to salvage their wedding plans, but the village is divided. Some, like Mama Nia, support Amara, urging her to embrace her truth. Others, swayed by Adwoa, see her as an outsider now, a girl who might leave them for a life of wealth. The tension boils over one evening when Adwoa confronts Amara publicly, her voice loud in the market square. "You think you're better than us now, with your fancy parents?" she sneers. "You'll leave Kwame and this village behind. The words cut deep, and Amara feels the eyes of her community, her family, turn cold. Kwame steps forward, his voice firm. Amara is one of us, no matter who her parents are. And I'm marrying her, not her past. The crowd murmurs, some nodding, others unconvinced. Amid the turmoil, Amara begins to notice strange things. A man in a dark jacket lingers near the village, watching her from a distance. Papers go missing from Mama Nia's home, including a letter Amara had written to Kwame about her fears. She confides in David, who grows tense. The broker's people, he mutters, his eyes scanning the horizon. They've found you. Fear grips Amara, but so does resolve. She's not a helpless child anymore. She's a woman who survived on her own. If someone is after her, she'll face them heat-in. The wedding day is rescheduled, and as the village prepares, Amara feels the weight of two worlds colliding. She spends hours with David and Elizabeth, learning about a life she might have had, private schools, grand houses, a family that loved her but couldn't keep her. Yet she also clings to Kweku, to the smell of her bread baking, to Kwame's laugh, to the life she's built. The night before the wedding, she makes a decision. She'll face her past, but she won't let it define her future. She slips the locket around her neck, a symbol of both her heritage and her strength, and prepares for the day that will change everything. As dawn breaks, the village square comes alive with color and sound. Amara steps forward in her handmade dress, Kwame waiting for her with a smile that makes her heart soar. The drums begin, and the ceremony starts, a celebration of love and resilience. But just as Amara reaches Kwame's side, the rumble of engines cuts through the air once more. The convoy returns, larger this time, with 10, maybe 15 cars. David steps out, his face pale, and behind him, a figure Amara has never seen but instinctively fears. The broker has come to Kweku, and with him, the truth about why Amara was hidden all those years ago. The air in Kweku village grows thick with tension as the convoy of cars comes to a halt, their engines purring like predators in the morning light. Amara stands at the center of the village square, her hand clasped in Kwame's, her cream-colored dress catching the breeze as the wedding ceremony grinds to a halt. The villagers, adorned in their brightest fabrics, fall silent, their eyes darting between Amara and the imposing figure stepping out of the second car. He's tall, with a sharp jawline and eyes that seem to pierce through the crowd. David, standing nearby, stiffens, his voice low as he whispers to Amara, "That's him, the broker." The name sends a chill down her spine, conjuring images from her grandmother's journal, schemes, threats, a man who'd stop at nothing to claim what wasn't his. But Amara, though her heart races, feels a fire kindling within her. She's faced too much to cower now. The broker, whose real name is revealed as Victor Mensa, strides forward with an air of confidence that makes the villagers step back. His tailored suit and polished shoes are a stark contrast to the dusty paths of Kweku, and his smile is all charm. But Amara sees the calculation behind it. "Amara Okoye," he says, his voice smooth as silk. "It's an honor to meet the heir to Okoye Enterprises." The words hit like a stone dropped in still water, rippling through the crowd. "Heir?" The villagers murmur, their suspicion giving way to shock. Amara feels Kwame's grip tighten, his eyes searching hers for reassurance. She squeezes his hand back, grounding herself in his presence as she faces Victor. "What do you want?" Amara asks, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside her. Victor's smile widens, but it doesn't reach his eyes. "I've come to offer you a choice," he says. "Your parents made a mistake hiding you away, thinking they could keep you from your destiny. Okoye Enterprises is yours by right, but it's a dangerous world out there. Join me, and I'll ensure your safety and your wealth." He gestures to the cars, to the men in dark suits standing watchfully nearby. "Or stay here and risk everything you've built." The threat is veiled but clear, and Amara feels the weight of every eye on her. Kwame's, David's, Elizabeth's, and the villagers who've known her as the bread seller, not the billionaire's daughter. David steps forward, his voice sharp. "You have no claim here, Victor. Amara is our daughter, and she's under our protection." Victor laughs, a cold, mirthless sound. "Protection? You left her to fend for herself for 20 years. I've been watching, waiting for the right moment. The empire your mother built is crumbling, David. Amara is the key to saving it or destroying it." The words hang heavy, and Amara's mind races back to the journal, to Abigail's warnings about rivals who coveted her legacy. Victor, it seems, is no ordinary enemy. He's been orchestrating moves against the Okoye family for decades, and Amara's existence is the final piece in his game. The villagers, sensing danger, begin to whisper among themselves. Adwoa, Kwame's mother, pushes through the crowd, her face a mask of defiance. "This is our village," she snaps, her voice carrying over the murmurs. "Take your cars and your schemes and leave." For once, her anger isn't aimed at Amara, and the unexpected support bolsters Amara's resolve. She steps forward, her locket glinting at her throat, and meets Victor's gaze. "I don't know your world," she says, her voice clear and strong, "but I know mine. I've survived without wealth, without a name, because of the people here. You think you can scare me into leaving them? You're wrong." The crowd erupts in cheers, and Kwame's eyes shine with pride. Victor's smile falters, but only for a moment. "Very well," he says, his tone icy. "But this isn't over. You'll see the cost of your choice soon enough." He turns, signaling his men, and the convoy begins to roll out, leaving a cloud of dust in its wake. Amara's heart pounds, but she feels a strange calm. She's faced the shadow from her past and stood her ground. David and Elizabeth approach, their faces a mix of relief and fear. "You were incredible," Elizabeth says, her voice trembling. "But Victor won't stop. We need to protect you." Amara nods, but her eyes are on Kwame. "We protect each other," she says, and he nods, his resolve mirroring hers. The wedding resumes, the drums picking up their rhythm as if nothing had happened, but everything has changed. Amara and Kwame exchange vows under the wide African sky, their promises woven with love and defiance. The villagers, once divided, now rally around them, their cheers drowning out the lingering echoes of the convoy. As the ceremony ends, David pulls Amara aside, his expression serious. "There's something you need to know," he says, handing her a sealed envelope. "Your grandmother left you more than a fortune. She left you a legacy, a trust that controls Okoye Enterprises. It's yours to claim, but it comes with responsibility." Amara takes the envelope, her fingers trembling. She's not ready to decide what it means, but she knows one thing. Her life in Kweku is her foundation, no matter what lies ahead. Days later, David and Elizabeth make a gesture that shifts the village's perception forever. They purchase a vast plot of land on the outskirts of Kweku, deeding it to Amara and Kwame as a wedding gift. They also donate vehicles and resources to the village, a promise of support that silences even Adwoa's doubts. The villagers, once wary, begin to see Amara not as an outsider, but as a bridge between their world and one they never imagined. Amara, meanwhile, grapples with her new reality. She spends evenings with Kwame, planning a future that blends her roots with her newfound heritage. They dream of building a school, a bakery, a community center, ways to give back to Kweku while honoring the strength that carried her through. As the sun sets one evening, Amara sits with Mama Nia, the journal open between them. You always knew who you were, Mama Nia says, her voice soft. Not a name, not a fortune, but a heart that never gave up. Amara smiles, tears in her eyes. Her life began in loss, but it's led her to love, to truth, and to a purpose she's only beginning to understand. The road ahead won't be easy. Victor's threat lingers, and the weight of her legacy is heavy. But Amara knows she's not alone. She has Kwame, Mama Nia, her parents, and a village that's finally embraced her as their own. The story of the abandoned girl who became a billionaire's daughter isn't just about wealth or secrets. It's about the courage to face the unknown, the strength to stay true to yourself, and the power of love to heal even the deepest wounds. Amara's journey reminds us all that no matter where life begins, honesty and kindness can lead to a future brighter than any dream. The golden light of late afternoon bathes Kweku village, casting long shadows across the newly gifted land where Amara and Kwame stand, surveying their future. The plot is vast, stretching toward the horizon, a canvas of possibility that feels both exhilarating and daunting. Amara clutches the sealed envelope David gave her, its contents still unread, a final tether to the legacy she's only beginning to grasp. Kwame, ever her anchor, points to a spot near a cluster of acacia trees. That's where the school could go, he says, his voice warm with dreams. A place for the children to learn, to grow like you did. Amara smiles, her heart swelling with the thought of giving back to the village that raised her. But beneath her hope lies a current of unease. Victor Mince's parting words echo in her mind. This isn't over. She knows the peace she's found is fragile, and the weight of her new identity as the Okoye heir is heavier than she expected. Back in the village, life has shifted. The donation of land and resources from David and Elizabeth has softened the villagers' skepticism, and even Adwoa, Kwame's once critical mother, has begun to see Amara in a new light. At a community gathering, Adwoa surprises everyone by presenting Amara with a woven shawl, a traditional gesture of acceptance. "You've brought honor to us," she says gruffly, her eyes avoiding Amara's. The moment is small but profound, a bridge mended in a village that once whispered about Amara's worth. Yet, as the village celebrates its newfound prosperity, new vehicles for transport, plans for a clinic, and dreams of a larger market, Amara notices signs that trouble is brewing. A stranger is seen near the village well, asking questions about her. A delivery of supplies arrives with a cryptic note. The Empire watches. Each clue tightens the knot in her stomach, reminding her that Victor's shadow looms large. Determined to face her fears, Amara finally opens the envelope. Inside is a legal document, written in her grandmother Abigail's precise hand, naming Amara as the sole controller of a trust that governs Okoye Enterprises. The trust holds not just wealth, but power, control over decisions that could shape industries across the continent. There's also a letter, its words direct and unflinching. "Amara, my granddaughter, you were born to carry this legacy, not because of wealth, but because of your heart. The world will test you, but you are stronger than you know." The letter ends with a warning about the broker, describing him as a former partner who betrayed Abigail, seeking to seize the empire for himself. Amara realizes that her existence threatens Victor's plans, not just because of her inheritance, but because her return could unite the Okoye family's allies against him. With Kwame's support, Amara decides to confront her destiny. She meets with David and Elizabeth, who have stayed in Kweku to guide her. They reveal that Victor has been undermining Okoye Enterprises for years, buying off allies and sowing discord. He wants the trust, David says, his voice grim, and he'll do anything to get it. Amara, though daunted, feels a spark of defiance. She's not just the girl who sold bread. She's the woman who faced a village's judgment, who stood up to a powerful enemy, and who chose love over fear. Then we fight him, she says, her voice steady. Not with threats, but with truth. David nods, pride in his eyes, and Elizabeth reaches for her hand, this time finding no resistance. Amara and Kwame begin to plan, blending her heritage with their vision for Kweku. They propose using the trust's resources to fund community projects, ensuring the village thrives while protecting her family's legacy. But Victor strikes first. One night, a fire breaks out at the edge of the village, destroying part of the new land. The villagers rally to put it out, and Amara finds a canister with Victor's company logo hidden in the ashes. It's a message, a warning that he's closer than she thought. Instead of retreating, Amara doubles down. She organizes a meeting with the village elders, sharing her story, her abandonment, her survival, and her newfound purpose. This land, this village is my home, she tells them. I'll fight for it, not just for me, but for all of us. Her honesty sways even the most skeptical, and Kweku unites behind her. The climax comes when Victor returns, this time with a legal challenge, claiming the trust is invalid. He arrives with a team of lawyers, their briefcases as intimidating as the cars that brought them. But Amara is ready. With David's help, she's contacted her grandmother's old allies, who arrive in Kweku to support her claim. In a tense confrontation in the village square, Amara presents the journal, the locket, and the trust documents, her voice unwavering as she declares her right to her legacy. Victor's charm crumbles as the allies, moved by her story and Abigail's words, reject his claims. Defeated, he leaves, his threats empty against the strength of Amara's truth. Months later, Kweku is transformed. The school is under construction, the market bustling with new vendors, and Amara's bakery is a community hub, its ovens funded by the trust. She and Kwame live in a modest home on their land, a blend of tradition and possibility. David and Elizabeth visit often, their bond with Amara growing stronger as they rebuild what was lost. The village no longer sees Amara as the abandoned girl or the billionaire's daughter, but as their own, a woman who turned hardship into hope. As she kneads dough one morning, the familiar rhythm grounding her, Amara reflects on her journey. She's learned that destiny isn't about wealth or secrets. It's about the choices you make, the people you love, and the courage to stay true. Her story, once a mystery, is now a beacon, reminding us all that even the most broken beginnings can lead to a life of purpose and love.